Right. So now you are warned and cautioned on hate speech. Why are you inciting Bembas and Easterners against this government in the corruption fight?
Well, I think, first of all, I want to mention that I am not making any admission that I did post that particular alleged post. However, that said, I want to mention that as an opposition leader, my job, as well as the job of other opposition leaders, is to scrutinize the manner and fashion with which the government is running national affairs. And that includes the allocation of resources. It includes the manner in which the corruption fight is being fought, whether it is selective, whether it is fair and equitable. It is our job to raise those issues. So if at any given time, I personally feel that the corruption fight is targeted towards people of certain regions. Take, for instance, I see that 99% of the people so far arrested are either from the northern region or the eastern region. I have the mandate to raise that and challenge the government of the day to say, why are you only targeting people of certain regions? Why are you not also following up people of other regions? It is within my mandate to challenge that.
So with that said, Mr. Tembo, we just want to clarify. So did you actually, because you're talking about not admitting, so are you saying you did not post this on your social media?
Well, this is a matter which is part of an active police investigation, and I would not want to undermine that investigation.
Okay, let's look at...
For your own information, when we went to the police yesterday, I did not answer any of the questions that the police had prepared. I reserved my right to remain silent. So the only thing that the police got from me were my details, my residential address, my age, where I come from. Those are the only details. And if the police do decide to proceed with this matter and take it to court, it is only in court that I will then unveil my defense.
Okay.
So I don't want to begin to discuss my defense here and now on TV. I'm sure you understand that part.
Let's look at the content of it, because you said if you feel that way, you have the mandate to speak out on this particular issue, and this has been a topical issue in itself. But then, should government really be afraid to arrest these individuals because of where they come from, whether they're Bemba or carries the name from the East? Should they be afraid to arrest these people for corruption allegations or cases?
Well, nobody said that government should be afraid. But if the corruption fight is targeted only towards people of certain regions, then we as opposition political parties have a mandate to raise that issue. And it is up to government to explain itself. It is up to government to tell the people, to say, the reason 99% of the people arrested so far are either from the northern region or the eastern region is because of ABCD. That is their job to explain to the Zambian people. They do not need to send the police to come and harass someone who has raised the concern. Because what I did, or what I'm alleged to have done, is to raise a concern about how the corruption fight is being done. No. So we cannot live in a society, in a country, whereby the opposition are gagged. We are prevented from asking questions for fear that the police will be at your doorstep. That is not the democracy that we have besieged when we got independence in 1964.
Mr. Tembo, the fight against corruption has just started. How do you know that only Bembas and Easterners are being targeted?
The statistics so far show that 99% of the people that have so far been arrested are either from the northern region or the eastern region. So the statistics are very clear. If in future there will be other arrests of people from other regions, then well and good. But for now, government can explain maybe and say, oh, the reason it appears biased The reason that it appears as if we are only targeting people from the northern region and the eastern region is because the other people whom we are still investigating are from other regions. And as soon as we do an arrest of those other people, then the statistics will look balanced. That is the job of government to explain itself. They do not need to send the police to my doorstep simply because I've raised that concern.
All right, now, Mr. Tembo, let's get your advice for government now. What would you advise government to do if it happens to be that members and Easterners allegedly stole, and these are the cases that are coming up and being reported? How would you advise government to act on these particular issues? Should they allow them to just continue moving freely and not be followed up or questioned for some of these alleged acts?
You know, at the end of the day, I've said it several times on different forums that personally I am in support of the fight against corruption. I'm 100% in support. However, I want this fight to be fair and equitable. I don't want this fight to be used by President Hakainde Hichilema to settle political scores. There are various examples of people who are arrested on very flimsy reasons. People whose property is seized. I'll give you just one example, if you allow me. Take, for instance, the case of Maxwell Chongo, who was a very, loud-spoken member of the Patriotic Front in the previous administration. Maxwell Chongo was being investigated by the Drug Enforcement Commission. And about 4 months ago, the DEC decided to seize his property. They seized his motor vehicles, they froze his bank accounts. But up to now, more than 4 months later, Maxwell Chongo has never been charged with any crime. And yet his property remains seized. His bank accounts remain seized. So from your own point of view, I know you're not a lawyer, I know you guys are journalists, but from your own point of view, is that a fair way to fight corruption? Where you go to a citizen, you seize their property, you freeze their bank accounts, they've got no source of income, no way to feed their families, and yet that person has not been charged with any crime. Is that a fair way of fighting corruption? I'll answer that question myself. It is not. And those are the issues which we are challenging the government of the day to say, look, we are in support of the fight against corruption, but do it in a fair and equitable manner. Do not target individuals because you've got a vendetta against them. Do not target people of certain regions. Do not target northerners and easterners.
Mr. Tembo, you have to wind up. You have to wind up quickly. We're running out of time.
Well, I'm done, unless you've got another question.